Last night's midair crash is the biggest air disaster in the area since January 1982. That's when Air Florida Flight 90 crashed into a bridge and plunged into the Potomac shortly after takeoff. 78 people were killed, including 4 people on the bridge. 4 passengers and 1 crew member survived. An investigation found that the flight crew failed to de-ice and should have aborted the takeoff. It is regarded as a seminal accident that led to significant changes in the aviation industry, including in cockpit communication routines. We're joined now by former NTSB investigator Alan E. Diehl, who worked on that tragedy. Dr. Diehl, we appreciate your being with us, especially at this hour. So let's talk about this with the investigation in just the initial stages. Based on that video that we've seen of the collision and what you have watched, the positioning of the aircrafts also, the speeds that they were coming in, what can you take away from that?
Well, of course, everything is very preliminary, but it appears that the helicopter, you see the explosion on your feed right now, approached from the north, from the left to the right, and hit the hit the airliner, the American airliner. But notice at the top of the screen, there's another aircraft in the area, and if the reports that they were told to cross behind the airliner, and they thought they were watching this other airliner here at the top of the screen, maybe they did not see the American airliner that they collided with. And of course, remember, there's a lot of background lights. Francis, without getting too complicated, it's difficult to see another aircraft at night, especially if there's multiple targets, multiple aircraft, and ground lights that you're looking at.
All right, and Dr. Diehl, let's talk about this area, this vicinity that's happened close to iconic D.C. landmarks like the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the National Mall. Talk about the flight restrictions and the clearances specifically for the aircraft here at Reagan Airport.
Well, it's very tight airspace, and it's obviously well controlled. It has to be because of all of these restricted areas, Francis, that you pointed out. I've flown in and out as a pilot. I've flown in and out of National Airport and or Reagan Airport now. But boy, you really have to be on your game, and the pilots and the controllers that fly in and out of there are well trained and well aware of these restrictions.
And given that, could you describe the communication that goes on between the aircraft and the control tower in a situation like this? Again, this is preliminary, right? And we're just looking at that video, the speeds that they came in. What could that communication sound like?
Well, of course, I haven't heard the actual tapes. As far as I know, they haven't been released. But the controllers are extremely busy. Obviously, the pilots are. And remember, the pilots of the airliner were told to land on a different runway than they initially were cleared for. So they're busy reprogramming their computers. So there's a lot of things going on in the control cab as well as in the cockpit of the 2 aircraft in this very, as you pointed out, congested airspace. Very limited room for air.
And of course, the big question is how this could have happened. But of course, what is also paramount is those lives and those rescues. Alan Diehl, we appreciate your time with us. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.